shots they had compared to United 7. Let's just remind ourselves, young boys this evening had a chance to continue their European adventure this season. If they'd have won this, they may well have been in the Europa League.
Yeah, and you could see they were going for it. End of the game, they didn't take the foot off the pedal and just sit there and think, let's enjoy Old Trafford and just so we can talk about the experience. They wanted to get a result here, and you could see that. But Man United made a lot of changes before the kick-off, and then throughout the game made big changes. So, and a lot of young players coming in. I think 6 teenagers on the play today. So it's fantastic for Man United. Again, I talked about the traditions of the club and bringing young players through. They continue that again tonight, and that valuable experience, beautiful stuff that they'll be able to carry them for the rest of their careers.
And it's not just about them, it's about the other young players who are in the academy at the moment. They see this and go, right, there is a pathway.
Yeah, but check it, it's for everyone, you know, because if you take the group serious and you qualify early, then you get an opportunity to play these young kids, you know, for the coaches, all the hard work they put in, for everyone. I think it's great that these guys get an opportunity to step out on the pitch and make their debut in front of these fans.
Yeah, and it's right, it's bang on. It energises the whole club from top to bottom. There's recruitment, there's scouts that are working up and down the country, all across the world, trying to recruit players to come through and come into this system here. And they all get energised when they see young players come out there because they know their work is worthwhile then.
And even Tom Heaton comes on. Ralph really is keen to see every player at this football club, isn't he?
Not often you see a goalkeeper get changed in halfway through the second half, but that's great. Even at 35, I think Tom making his Champions League debut.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. So, absolutely. Yeah, that was good.
Who's made it through so far, and you can see on here the only remaining one is the Atlanta Villarreal, which will be decided tomorrow. The big disappointment tonight, and we'll talk about this on Champions League tonight, is for Chelsea. They were actually going to be the group winners until the 94th minute, and then they conceded. They drew, which means they go through as runners-up, as do Paris Saint-Germain. But look at those teams, looking very nice indeed for the knockout stages. Let's talk overall then about this evening before we get into specifics, hopefully hear from Ralf Rangnick and some of the players as well. Who impressed you both this evening? Who do you sort of feel came out of this with Ralf thinking, you're in my plans?
Mason Greenwood. Yeah, Mason's pretty special. You know, I think there's a lot of players out there that cost a lot of money out there, whether they're, you know, bought from other teams. Mason's through the academy, and he's probably the most talented one. So,
didn't we know all that already, though?
Ish, but, you know, Ralf gets to see him in a live setting, and then he gets to see him score a goal like that. He's one of the best natural finishers at the club. Can play in multiple positions. He's good on the ball. People always talk about his finishing, but Rio and I were saying his ability to use the ball, receive the ball, doesn't get enough credit. So
awareness.
I think he's going to be one of those that he'll be in the starting 11 soon.
Yeah, I don't think it's long. I mean, we can watch the goal here, and we spoke before about Jesse receiving the ball, but Matic's ball into him through the lines as a pass of a midfielder. Fantastic ball. And to be fair, it's his movement. He drifts. It's not a massive bits of movement. It's just deft movements, and then bang. That finish, and we spoke during when we saw this happen, it's like, I always liken him to someone like Van Persie. That's who his style is like. He receives it a lot like him. His movements like him. He's elusive. Doesn't really want to ever get pinned against a defender. You see here,
Luke does well, doesn't he? Get on the overlap.
Yep, he does. But I'd just like to take it back seriously. So I want to look at his movement again, because Luke does great, yeah. But my eyes are only on one man at the moment, and it's him. Look at him here. He knows his awareness of where he's in. He's not scoring from there.
No,
he's not scoring. Not often you score when you're this far in front of the post. Watch his movements.
Just run it slow, run at half speed. Because he's surrounded by people, Jake.
Yeah.
You know, you think you can't score. He realises, right, it's not coming there. I'll just drop off.
Exactly then is that middle movement to get himself a yard away from that defender. Yeah. Who's doing well marking him, by the way. That defender's marking him very well.
He's at his near post, isn't he?
And do you see this as something you can teach young strikers, or is this an instinct?
No, he's learned over the years, but it's instinctive as well. He just knows where he needs to be. And he can feel that defender without even actually physically touching him. He can see him in his eye line, but also he can feel that he's probably too tight for me there to be able to score in this area here at the moment. It's probably too tight for me to score in this area here.
Yeah, because even if he gets a touch, it's going to go out. It's going to go up.
Yeah, so he puts the brakes on, checks out a little bit, gets that little yard of separation, and then it's down to instinctive, beautiful, clinical finishing. The kids, listen, I love him. There's not enough words for me to describe what I feel about this boy as a player, seriously, because he's a beautiful footballer. When he came into the team, everyone, like Owen said, everyone just spoke about his finishing, because that is what you see straight away. But when you actually break his game down, He's so efficient in what he does, receiving the ball, his body angles, his movement to receive the ball. And what I like about him is very rarely you really see him get tackled. But a lot of the other players out there on that pitch got tackled today.
Yeah, there were a lot of turnover
turning the ball over. He's not like, he's very elusive with the ball. He takes the ball away from. He's got so much things that you can love about his game. Yes, there is stuff to work on. He's a young kid. That's inevitable. But this kid, the ceiling for this kid is so high. And I mean, we've got a few examples of his all-round play here. Even pressing, I've seen his stats in terms of sprints and high intensity runs when he's on the pitch. He's not someone who shirks work. Wants to set the people up for other chances. But the kid, I think, what he could be, man. If he dedicates himself to the game like he is at the moment and continues and keeps that growing and takes the opportunities like he is at the moment, England are missing out at the moment because he can come and add value to that team as well.
That's his gift. In those areas, he's calm. He never rushes. Most young kids, they receive the ball and they panic. They speed up in the moments where they shouldn't. Mason has a picture, and he's always in control, which is quite rare. And he has a good awareness, as Reece said. He's always checking his shoulder, find little pockets. I mean, as a finisher, it's pretty special. But again, I'm with Rio. I think his overall game doesn't get enough credit. I think he can carry the ball, he can dribble. His awareness is good. But he'll want to play. Even though there's some world-class players here, he'll want to play.
Yeah, he won't be happy sitting on the bench. Since this new manager's come in, he hasn't started the game until tonight, and I'm sure he'll be sitting there going, well, why?
Yeah.
But his answer is where you want it to be, out there.
And the great thing for him is that if you take a look at the kind of players that Ralf Rangnick has signed and worked with over the years, he is the perfect profile for a Rangnick kind of player.
He's the thing is, if Ralf was going to buy him, it would have cost him a fortune.
Yeah.
And we see, Ahmad out there today, would they pay, 35, 40 mil, Mason is in the category almost, the Phil Foden category in terms of, how do you put a price on it? So, look, he's a diamond, and to go with, Marcus and Cristiano and Cavani,
Sancho.
Pogba, Sancho, Bruno. I mean, Ralf has a lot of options that he can go and pick this team, and it's exciting.
And it's a good point, actually, about Pogba. Varane still to come back from injury. There's good times ahead. Let's talk about something not quite so positive tonight, which was some of the elements of the defending. We can have a look at the equaliser now. Who out there this evening, this goal notwithstanding, do you think wasn't a great night for you, actually?
I don't think anyone other than Mason really gives Ralf something to think about. I think everyone else, there's elements of the game we say, oh, well done, but then there's elements where you thought that will probably go against you, and he's thinking in terms of an 11 to go in the Premier League this weekend or in the coming weeks. So, no, I think you can...
What about Wan-Bissaka? You said he'll have to fight to be in Ralph's plans. What did you think of him tonight?
Yeah, I just feel with Wan-Bissaka, I think he needs to work on his game with the ball a lot more. And I think that we spoke about it today. Fullbacks in today's games are controllers of the game. We've always been number 8s, midfielders in Premier League history, and we've watched football for years. Centre midfielders are the conductors. At the moment, the players who are getting majority of the most touches are the fullbacks. So you have to be good at receiving the ball and good at playing over various distances and adding different layers to your game. And I think that's where Wan-Bissaka, if you're talking about the top right-backs in the country, that's where he falls short in that department.
Yeah, everybody knows his attributes defensively, and that, which is great. But, to play, we said it before, Reece James, Cancelo, Trent Alexander-Arnold, they get you 10 assists. He doesn't have to get United 10 assists, but you want him to get 5-ish and just put himself in a position where he's crossing the ball, where he's receiving in areas where he can create a bit more. I think at times he looks a bit reluctant to maybe go up there, and I think if he puts himself in those situations more and forms a partnership with Mason Greenwood, then I think there's, he can get those numbers. Nobody's going to get Trent numbers because, he's a bit of an alien. But
what is there for him is that you can see it. You know what you got to work on. So sometimes that's the hard part for people to identify what do I need to work on. But it's there. It's clear for all to see. That's what the manager needs and what he wants. Right, how am I going to now go and enable myself to be able to execute in them situations? That comes with repetition. That comes with training on the training ground all the time and working off the pitch and going with the data people and seeing, well, how can I get better? Going with the coaches on a daily basis. How can I get better?
The thing is, Dallow's the opposite, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a brilliant crosser of the ball, good at receiving the ball, but defensively, he hasn't always been his best, although he was brilliant against Palace. And Wan-Bissaka's the opposite. So depending on what game it needs, you can pick and choose. Wan-Bissaka always played under Ole. But I think with the way Ralph's going to play, you might see a bit more of Dalot because to get the crosses in for Cristiano.
Okay, good to get your thoughts. We'll get the thoughts of the Manchester United interim boss when we come back. We were almost in tears up here.
No, it's emotional. I mean, we could only imagine and dream of being able to kind of witness and be a part of something like that. So great for the family. And listen, all the hours and the travelling, you're like glorified Uber, black taxi drivers as parents, ferrying your kids around all over the country to see them play and to dream of a moment like this. This is phenomenal.
It's nice though, because only really now, as parents, you realise that this is actually what your parents would have gone through when you guys were doing exactly the same
Yeah,
thing.
well, my son is 6 now, and he just started to get into it, and he loves football. And now to see him, I can just picture him kicking the ball in the back garden, learning all the little things now, and I can only imagine what it must be like to come to watch him play. I mean, I love his games now when he's 6. You know, sitting on the side with a bacon sandwich while some chase the ball. I can only imagine what it'd be like see him walk out there. So, pretty amazing for the Savage family.
Yeah. 6 teenagers coming on tonight for Manchester United. Charlie was just one of them. Let's talk about United and what happens in the near future, because if you look at their Premier League fixtures, I mean,
Wow.
It's a beautiful run now for Ralf to get his teeth into, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the manager he could have handpicked and cherry-picked some games. I think these would have been exactly it. Yeah, because you look at that and you think, wow, there's not many there that you would frighten you or put you on the back foot. I think he's got to go into these thinking, wow, we can come out of this at Southampton. We should be in a really, really good position.
That is win, 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 win. I mean, it should be
30 points?
Yeah, no, seriously.
You'd hope so, but if you based it on the performances that we've seen before disappointment, you would say, well, I don't know where there could be, I can see banana skins left, right and centre there.
Yeah, but look,
with
Villa away, West Ham at home, come on, they're the 2 hardest games from 10. I mean, let's be honest, you know, if United, with the squad that they have, the player, you know, the depth and the experience, they should win all those games. And then you go into the fixtures, then you got the Champions League knockout phases, you will have Ralf for 3 months. You know, they could be in a place where they could go attack and potentially win a trophy or something.
But you know, it's not as easy as that.
No, I know it isn't.
You look at fixtures like that. I used to do this as a player. You'd look 3 or 4 games down, and you think, oh, we should be like 6 or whatever points clear or whatever. And all of a sudden, after the first game, you're thinking, wow, we dropped points there. So it changes quickly. The landscape can change so quick, but you've got to make sure that you just look after the next game.
Very good. I can see out of the corner of my eye a certain Ralf Rangnick has joined Des Kelly pitchside. So let's go straight to it live. Des, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much. Ralf, it was a Champions League game, but it was also a part experiment and an assessment of the squad. So how do you think it went?
I mean, I was fully aware before the game that with this team that we play today, they haven't played together, not only with regard to formation but also as a team. The first half hour, I think we did quite okay. We had a few unforced errors even in those first 30 minutes, but at least we had control on the game. I think we should have been minimum 2-0 up, if not 3-0 up. We had 2 great opportunities, one from Amat and the other one from Juan Mata. But we didn't score. We were a bit sloppy with those situations. We had a third one with Anthony Elanga in the second half. So we could have scored 3 or 4 goals. But obviously after we conceded the equaliser, we were not defending high enough, not proactive enough. And we could have also conceded 2 or 3 goals. So if in the end the final score would have been 3-3 or 4-3 to us, nobody could have complained against that. But as I said, also the good things, quite a few debuts. Debut for Tom Heaton, debut for quite a few youngsters. Game time for players who desperately need game time. So in total, I wouldn't say happy, but it was okay.
A valuable experience then. You're looking for players to stake a claim. Mason Greenwood did that early on with a fantastic goal, didn't he?
Yes, but it was also good to see Luke Shaw back. Hopefully he can at least be a candidate for the Norwich game in the squad. Aaron got 2 knocks again, one on the wrist, another one on the knee, so we have to see how this will develop by Saturday. Yes, and as I said, it was an experiment. It was not an experiment. I did it on purpose because I also wanted to save the players and their energy for the game on Saturday against Norwich.
Sure. But you talked sort of about giving the ball away, though. Did you seem to lose possession a lot?
Yeah, what really was a little bit annoying was the way that we also gave the goal away, because we played too many balls into the first line of their pressing area, and this was also the case with the goal that we conceded. We could have cleared the ball easily, and whenever we played the ball into the second or third line, we were always dangerous, and that was really. I told them that before the game, but still they still played in that situation the ball. A 5-meter pass, and they were just waiting for that ball. It was more or less a pressing invitation that we sent.
It looks like you've learnt a lot. Thank you very much, Ralf.
Thank you.
So it was almost perfect, this campaign for Manchester United. Might have finished with a bit of a damp squib this evening, but it was job done coming into the final game, which is crucial for them. And there are the group winners, there are the runners-up. And I guess the real headline tonight is that is really frustrating, isn't it, for Chelsea? In the 94th minute, they're going through as group winners. They're now going to face either Lille, Bayern, Real or Ajax in the next round.
But you don't want Bayern or Real. I mean, definitely not. So, obviously, I think Thomas Tuchel will be a little bit disappointed, but they'll get it back. They're defending European championships. But conceding 3, I think that'll bother them the most.
Yeah, they're suddenly shipping goals.
Yeah, the last 2 games, back-to-back, 3 goals each game. So it's not what we're used to seeing with the Chelsea team, but I'm sure they'll get themselves back on track.
It's very pragmatic, Ralf, isn't he, when he assesses the games like this? There's sort of no getting carried away. It's all part of the plan, the long-term view.
He sees it very clearly. He understands what he wants. He knows what he wants, and he doesn't deviate and get kind of put off by a certain little situation in the game. This is it. Clarity.
Just what this football club needed, hey? Here's some clarity for you as well. Stay where you are, because straight after the break, every single goal from the Champions League this evening, followed by us 3 discussing all of the headlines and all the talking points from the group stages so far. So stay where you are. Champions League tonight is after the break.